Good morning, good afternoon. Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Hey, Alex. Doing great here. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's nice to see you again. Excited to do it all over. We had a great set of innovators yesterday and ready to kick off our second round of this 3cubed preliminary rounds for the Process Innovation Challenge.
Indeed. It was fantastic. Yesterday, we had a great group of folks, and well, we're looking forward to continuing that theme today, right?
Absolutely.
So this is the 9th time we've run the Process Innovation Challenge. Well, what is it? Simply put, it's a place where innovators in the localization industry get to show their ideas to an audience. That's all of you out there. So just in case, with all the virtual events going on, you're not sure where you should be? Well, you're at PIC preliminary round number 2. Hopefully it's where you should be.
So I'd like to remind everyone, if you have some questions for our innovators today, please go ahead and use the chat feature. If you submit a question, please make sure to notate which particular innovator it's for so that we can pose them that question. We'll get to as many questions as we have time for. Our dragons will also be asking questions as well. Dave, do you want to say just a word or two about what will be next in this process? I know our final round will be in about 2 weeks' time. It'll be on Wednesday, January 27th, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time as part of LocWorld Wide 43. What's the next steps for us, and when will the finalists be announced?
Yes. Well, let's jump ahead of ourselves, shall we? So we have an advisory board every time we do the PIC, we do this event, and they help us out with deciding what we're doing and on helping us decide how to move through the process. So preliminary round to final, and then final to overall winner, the PIC Process Innovator of the Year. So next step is the Dragons will deliberate on these 2 preliminary rounds, and we will share our results hopefully by midweek next week.
Sounds good. And we'll publish those results to the PIC website. That's pic.locworld.com early next week. And also wanted to let you know, if you didn't have a chance to see yesterday's round, you can actually go back and watch that recording. It is published now to LocWorld's YouTube channel, and I'll share the link to that as well as the PIC website in just a moment here in the chat. So should we invite our dragons up to the stage?
I think so. This year we have 3 fantastic dragons. We have Jeff Kaiser from Translated, Yuka Nakasone from Intento, and Bert Esslink, the lad who wrote the book. Remember that book? Bert is with STL. Hey, welcome everybody. Hey, Bert.
Hey. How many of those XTM shirts do you have, Dave?
Oh, one for some of the days of the week.
Hi, Yuka. How's it going? I think you're muted right now, but it's good to see you.
Sorry.
No problem. Now we can hear you.
Yeah.
And let's see if we have Jeff. My guess is maybe, he's chatting me right now. I need to turn his camera on for him. Just a second. And all right, Jeff, he should be able to join us now. We couldn't do it without him. There he is. Sorry about that.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Ready to go?
Sounds good.
Well, you're about to spend an hour with us all. We were trying to figure out, well, what could you do in an hour? This is one of the things you could try and do. Remember, it's a new year, so resolutions and all that. Well, we've done the intro. We're going to go straight into a first pitch. Once that's happened, there will be questions from the dragons. We'll then move on to the next pitch, all the way through to our 7 innovators today. We'll then do a quick wrap-up. We call this 3cubed. Why? Well, they're the rules. 3 minutes for each innovator, 3 slides, or thereabouts. And we have 3 dragons, who you've just met. All right. That's it. We're ready to go, Alex, I think. Shall we get this second round started?
I think we should.
This is a running order. First up is Dalibor. So Dalibor, would love you to come up on stage, and we get you set up.
Allow me to check and make sure that Dalibor has the ability to turn on.
Hi, can you hear me and see me?
We can. Great.
Hi, everyone. So I think I can go straight ahead and share my screen.
Yes, you can.
So
And when you're ready, it's over to you.
let me set it up. This should be it.
Get my timer ready here.
Okay.
We can see your screen, Dalibor. Over to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So hello, everyone. I'm Dalibor Frivalski. I'm Chief Technology Officer at MemSource. And let's talk about automating MT engine selection using machine learning. So, which MT system should I choose? I think this is a question that many people ask actually all the time, whether they are just starting with machine translation technology in their workflows, or they have been using MTs for years now. And so what is the answer? Well, maybe you will go with a popular choice, for example, Google Translate, but hopefully you will say you actually want to use the best MT engine for your content. So you start looking around and you will find out there are actually many, many different MT engines with differing quality, features, and pricing. The tried and true approach how to navigate this landscape is to do a proper pilot study, evaluate the different MT engines and pick a winner. I'm even including a checklist of how such a pilot study can look like. And maybe you will think that this actually looks like a lot of work. Well, that's because it actually it really is. And so maybe someone has done this work already for you. And indeed, yes, there are many studies available and many reports which show how different MT engines or how different MT engine quality differs across language pairs, domains, and even over time. But the largest issue with this is that they have not been run on your content. They are not targeting the documents that you want to translate. So what do? Well, thankfully, we at MemSource have found a solution for you, and it's called MemSource Translate. MemSource Translate uses AI to automatically select the optimal MT engine for your translation jobs based on each job's domain and language pair. You can personalize the learning algorithm by picking the MT engines you are interested in. Behind the scenes, there are two algorithms working in tandem. First, we analyze each document you want to translate and automatically detect its domain. For example, whether it's legal, medical, industrial, and so on. Second, we recommend the optimal MT engine for your language pair and detect the domain. Once post-editing is done, we actually analyze the performance of the MT engines and take that into account when recommending MT engine for your next job. Initially, the algorithm tries out different MT engines, but with more data, it gains confidence and starts recommending MT engine that is indeed the optimal one for your document. And so, because MemSource Translate works directly with your content and continually learns which MT engines will serve you the best, you can forget about the different studies and reports about doing MT pilots, even about the individual MT engines. Next time you ask which MT system to choose, just use MemSource Translate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dalibor. Very clear and precise. I think you're right on time as well, actually. So let's go to questions. Of course, that means we're going to talk to the dragon. So, hey, Bert, do you have a question for Dalibor? I think you're muted.
Bert, you're muted right now.
Sorry, I'm such an amateur. Okay, first of all, I'm very happy to see there's now an algorithm called BERT in the MT space. Took a while, but we're here now. So very interesting concept, Dalibor. I have one question about the actual selection of MT engines, because we all know that there's many of them out there, and it's a race to the top, right? They're constantly changing and improving. The selection of MT engines, how can you keep up with the changing environment? Because if DeepL is scoring really well on legal in German one day, Amazon might catch up with them the other day. So how are you going to keep up and not stick to one choice?
Right. Yeah, that's a very good question. So we have two approaches to this. Either we have direct communication with the MT engine provider. So if they let us know that there has been some systematic change in their performance, we can take it into account and then nudge the system to try the MT engine a little bit more to see whether the performance has actually improved. And the second one that is more automated is that we only use the data from the last 6 months, and this is a moving window. So as we are moving forward, we are forgetting the older data points, and are basing the recommendation on the new data points of the document that you have just translated recently.
Okay. And do you feel that the MT providers are sort of really focusing on specific domains, or is it they're trying to cover all of them? I mean, are they looking at life sciences specifically, or legal, or are they verticalized the MT engines at some point, or are they not?
In the future, I think that the verticalization will probably go more towards the customized MT engines, where you will use the data set that is more specific to what you are trying to translate. On the generic MT engine level, I don't expect that there will be some MT engines do provide specific models for domains, so they do offer some verticalization, but it very much depends on the training data they have. Even if they don't specifically target some subset of domains, it's up to data they have available, and so their performance can actually vary even though they are not specifically targeting legal or medical.
Okay. Thanks, Bert.
Cool. Thanks.
We have time just for one very quick question. Jeff, do you have a quick question?
I do. I was kind of interested in, from the start to finish, since you mentioned that they have, your client would have to provide a certain amount of content to be able to run it and determine evaluation. How to, from that start to finish to that being able to provide that guidance, how long does that take? And obviously, is there a certain amount of content that's the right size for being able to just run it initially and then move from there?
Yeah, so for generic MT engines, and so across the language pairs and the domains that we can detect, we are actually looking through all the mem source content that is going through. And we ran several simulations, and we found out that around 50 to 100 documents for each language pair and domain is enough for the system to start getting some confidence. But these don't necessarily need to be 50 or 100 of your documents. That can be pulled together from everyone. So everyone basically gives a little bit of the information into the system, and everyone benefits from it.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Dalibor. Thanks, Jeff. Dalibor, that's it. You're free to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And next up is Simone. So we'll just ask Simone to join the stage.
Hi,
again, hey, Simone, please send your questions in. If you can, just get them in ahead of the Q&A time, so as we can try and get those in there. If not, then we'll try and get you answers either during networking at the tables or after the event itself. So Simone, we'll get you going if you'd like to share your screen.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm going to share my screen.
And we can see it now.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Simone Perone, VP of Product Management at Translated. Have you ever tried to create subtitles from scratch? It is an hard work. You need to understand the materials you will work on, maintain the context and meaning of the original video, and convey the translated script into the target language. Typically, the first step of this process is to listen, watch the whole video and transcribe the dialogues and the voiceovers. Then you need to translate and convert everything into subtitles according to a set of guidelines to ensure an easy read. You have to rewatch the video, maybe retranslate, resync some parts, and repeat this process until the result is satisfactory. And all of this sometimes happens using more than one tool. It's hard work that requires effort and time. So what if we could help subtitlers focusing on the creative part of their work, letting the machine taking care of the most time-consuming tasks required by the rest of the process? For this purpose, we created MateSub. That's a web tool that provides suggestions during the transcribing and translating process, basically freeing creative people's time for the most inspiring part of their work, that's delivering emotion. I'm going to show you a quick demo of the tool. So. Okay, so this is MateSub homepage where you can create your AI-assisted subtitling project. You can enter the project name, select the source language of the video, the target language of the subtitles. You can select or define a set of guidelines that will be used for the subtitles generation and the on-tool QA features. Then you can upload the video, wait for the upload to finish, and start the automatic subtitles generation process. This will require a few seconds. So once the generation is ready, this what you see is what you get. The UI will appear. And so now let's click on play and see what happens.
So if you live on planet Earth and you're one of 7 billion people that eats food every day, I need you to pay attention, because over the next 3 decades, we will need to address one of the most critical global challenges of our generation.
Okay, in this editor, you can change the text, the start time, the duration of the subtitle, and eventually use another set of other features. When you're happy with the result, you can export in SRT or VTP format. To build MateSub, we are using state-of-the-art research in speech recognition and machine translation, and we adapted it to this new purpose. MateSub is currently available in beta version. It's on since November 2020, so it's a brand new tool. And some companies and individual subtitlers already use it as a production tool. So I cannot see you. I don't know if I have still time. Anyway.
I think you're done on time, Simone. But perhaps during questions, if you have a point that can fit in there. Thank you very much. Let's go to Yuka first.
Hi, Simone.
Hi, Yuka.
Thank you for the presentation. You said automated with AI.
Yeah.
And the system would suggest detected sentences, or detected translation, or just it's like automated translation, so the translator has to do post-editing.
Yes, it's the second case. So basically what happens, you can upload, let's say, a video in English, and you want to do Italian subtitles, like the example. You upload the video, define some parameters, then click on start, and what you will see is the video with the subtitles in Italian. So you will have both the translation and the split in subtitles according to the rules that you can choose. For example, 42 characters per line, 20 characters per second reading speed, and so on. So it's basically, I don't know if you know the other tool that we developed years ago, MateCut. It's like MateCut, where we suggest translation to the human, and then the human can edit the translation. So we are doing the same with subtitles, so that at some point we can collect this editing, put it in the loop with the machine. So we have a human in the loop paradigm, and the machine can learn from the editing.
So it's machine translation.
Yes, it's machine translation, and
where is another AI piece?
It's for the speech recognition.
Because you said AI.
Yeah, it's for the speech recognition, because we convert. Let's say if you imagine it as a pipeline, actually we are working on an end-to-end system. If you imagine it as a pipeline, you have a speech recognition system to transcribe the original audio. And then we have another component of which, since someone mentioned before, we use, of course, modern MT. That's our engine. And we use modern NLP to translate and split titles.
Okay. Yeah. So it's voice to text, machine translation, post editing, and put it together and done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Yuka. So Simone, we do have some questions from the audience. Let's see if we can hit these ones quite quick, if you can. So how do you solve the issue of segmentation is the first one. So you don't have strange segmentation time codes.
Yeah, it depends what we mean in segmentation. If we are talking about subtitling segmentation, so it's all AI based. So we have a lot of different models for each language, and how to say, we trained our model with the subtitles done by human in the past. And on top of that, we apply some rules, sometimes based on punctuations, from punctuation and so on. What we notice is that we are using as a reference Netflix guidelines, okay? We did some tests. The tool at the moment is very precise with the 42 characters per line requirements, and try to meet the reading speed parameters too. But we noticed that also what is online now on Netflix doesn't respect all the time the guidelines, because probably it's human impossible to respect all the guidelines. But anyway, we use neural networks, so we trained our model with the human made subtitles in the past.
Great stuff. Thank you, Simone. We do have two other questions for you, but we do need to move on. Unfortunately, that's the other side of the blade, I guess, at the PIC. But what I'd ask is if you can check out those questions and maybe answer in the networking session afterwards. Okay. Thank you very much, Simone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Simone.
Thanks.
So next up is Olivier. We'll just ask Olivier to join us on stage.
Hi. I'm going to share my screen and let me know when you see it. Are we good?
We can see it.
Yep.
Great. Olivier here. I'm VP of Product Development at Lingoport, and we provide products and services for software companies so they can globalize their applications. It's really about software. One pain point in software globalization is the linguistic review process. It's homegrown, complex, involve many manual steps and many people. Today, we're going to show how Localizer QA, that's our innovation here, is going to help streamline and automate the entire process. I'm going to log in. I'm logged in here as Olivier, and I'm going to play the role of a linguistic reviewer. This is pretty much the same dependent as what you would have for a QA functional test. These are my directives. Go to this application. This application has been created by a company that's my client company, and they're called Star Wars Stuff, and the application is called Rebel Outfitters here. So following the instructions here, I'm going to review the vehicles page. I'm going to vehicles. I'm in French because I'm reviewing in French. And I've reviewed some of it already. I'm going to review this one. Let's say that I do not like this string here. I'm going to say in the QA stuff, this is the current translation. What I would like it to be is this translation. And I need the key here. In order to find the key, I need to switch the locale. In this application, the locale to be switched is this one here. And I get a key, and also I'm seeing what the original English was. So it was translated from this string in a resource file. And I'm going to put that key in here. I could type it in here. I'm just going to list of other reviews that I've done. So you see that I've done a few more things. And let's say that I'm done with my review step. I'm going to submit it. This is now going to be passed over to the backend. I've just mentioned here, and as it's being passed over to the back end, everything is automated. So the series of steps that are being taken now maybe multiple days. I'm going to go to the post edit to see what has happened to my changes, and you see that there are waiting return. I have some others that are completed already. And by the way, those are not completed. What has happened here? I can check that right here by clicking this link. And this link is going to take me directly to the resource file that was modified. What was modified was a specific resource. That is Blazing Fast Corvette is now Corvette. Motoraptor is now Veloraptor, and the one that I just did here today was the X-Wing is now Edonis. This was pushed to the repository in the right file, in the right directory, in the right repository and the right branch. It's very precise in terms of what the changes are. And this is done based on deployment that I've done.
Just a few seconds less.
And in conclusion, it's perfect. The whole process, which is really lengthy, has been very streamlined and automated. That's the presentation.
Thank you very much, Olivier. Very interesting. So let's go to questions. Let's start with Jeff.
Jeff, you're muted.
So one question I have, Olivia, have you kind of determined that, obviously when you're presenting and you're going to make this available to others, have you said, have you been able to gauge a 30%, 40% gain on being able to follow that process that you guys have put together, that new tool?
Yeah, I would say it's a lot more than that, but we haven't gauged it with actual metrics. But these steps, I can give you an example of a company that has 700 Jira kind of bugs with screenshots and things that are circled and things that it has on to the project manager in the resource. Where is that resource? What is the repository? Which is the branch? And then sending that back to somebody who change. It's a very complicated process today, and as you've seen here,
yeah, great. And the reason I ask is sometimes, obviously, the value add, you always want to be able to share that and be able to construct that for that decision maker. So that's great to see that.
Thanks, Jeff. Yuka, do you have a question?
I understood that this is a fully in context LQA, fully automated. It's reflected to the backend, and everything is done quite nicely. My question is, this is just a LQA. It's not related to this innovation, but I'm curious how the translation is done. I mean, is the translation is done in context as well, like this?
So we're talking about the innovation on the QA side today. Now, the way that the translation was done in that instance was actually a complete machine translation going directly from the repository
Makes sense.
in that instance, it was
Makes sense. Okay.
But it does not have to be. So we also hook up to TMSs like STL or MemSource or XTM. And so you can have that translation step being done. And then in terms of the innovation here, it's really about how to handle the linguistic QA once a translation.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Yuka. Thanks very much, Olivier. Very interesting. Thanks for joining the PIC. And we'll let you allow time for Mahmoud to join us now. And just while that's happening, you can send your questions in. As I say, we're on a time schedule, but we will try and get to some of the audience questions as well. Otherwise, you can bring them up during the networking session after the event. And I don't see Mahmoud as yet. Alex?
I'm looking. He should have speaker ability. Should be able to turn on your camera and microphone now. Mahmoud? I can send him a message. We could come back to him. it shows him as being able to access the stage. So
okay, let's do that. So Mahmoud, if you're listening, we'll come back to you.
oh,
And,
I think I see he's trying to share right now.
okay.
Give it just a moment. Okay, there's your screen. Now we just need you to turn your mic and camera on, Mahmoud.
And we thought we were going to get away with it without any issues, right?
Yeah. If you can hear us, Mahmoud, just look at the control panel on the bottom of your browser there. You have a cam on, mic on button there. If you just click those, we should be able to see and hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
What maybe we can do, Alex, is that you can work with Mahmoud. Maybe he needs to come back into the system again. And Anouk, so Mahmoud will come back to you. And Anouk, we will ask you to come on stage earlier than you had planned. Hi there.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So, Mahmoud, we'll come back to you. You can just, we'll come back to you in a few minutes. That's okay.
Oh, now there we did see him finally, but that's fine. Let's go ahead with Anouk, and then we'll go with Mahmoud next.
Okay, I think you should unshare screen for me to be able to do that or not.
Sure. I think if you hit share, it should be able to. There.
All right.
Now we can see yours.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me. Can I start?
You may.
All right. So hello, everyone. My name is Anouk. I'm going to show you what I do to create flow in your global content processes. And I take the opportunity to propose this as a new standard, lean localization. One of the biggest problems in translation process on client side is that they don't operate in flow. Signs of this are a lot of delay, erratic workload, unpredictable process and outcomes, and high pressure on localization managers. Now, the manufacturing industry has long developed a system to solve this, and it's called lean manufacturing. And to be honest, the translation industry is not so different. So my innovation is to take a proven methodology from the manufacturing industry and bring a conveyor belt efficiency to our industry, and I call it lean localization. And what we do? We aim for flow, a process that runs steadily and predictably with no interruptions. No, who wouldn't want that, right? So here's a simplified version of the improvement system that is used in lean manufacturing and that I use for localization processes. So what you do is you take a Kanban board like this one, Trello, and you visualize your process in this board. And then one of the most important steps is to stop working in large batches and instead split them up in small pieces that are still publishable and valuable to your user. Oops. Sec. Then you start running the pieces through the process in sequence, like a train. And we call this one-piece flow. In a perfect world, this looks something like this. In the real world, however, things don't go that smoothly. There will be an interruption in your process, and carts will start exceeding the limits you set. So this is the moment to start improving. What you do is you do a root cause analysis of the problem, and you come up with the simplest solution that could possibly work. You can see that you need to hurry because the carts are piling up faster than I can talk. If you have indeed solved the root cause, you can see that your carts are moving away fast from this lane. And you repeat this for every exceedance of your limit. If you have nothing left to solve, you just decrease your limits or you make your pieces even smaller. So basically what we do here is continuously create a mini crisis, which shows you what must be improved. Now for my clients, just moving to one-piece flow already doubled the publishing speed, and it made it really easy to manage freelance translators. And looking at the root cause of bottlenecks led to instant business cases for a number of improvements, like a shift left of translations, collaborative workflows, and investments in automation. The results, you can see them here. So my ending statement, if you want to really innovate your process, aim for flow. And thank you very much for your attention.
Aim for flow indeed, and lean localization. Thanks very much, Anouk. Very good stuff. Let's have questions from your fellow countrymen, actually. Bert.
Hey, fellow city man even. Hey, I'm Anouk. Some bold statements there. 80% cost reduction. That means 20% cost left. Turnaround time by half. How come all of those companies developing TMS systems and automated workflows, etc., have not figured this one out yet? What did they miss?
Well, apparently, there's, of course, yeah, it's a great question. Thanks. I mean, a lot is already going on, of course, in continuous localization, right? So people are starting to understand that if you make your batches much smaller, that they, that this just goes faster eventually. So, yeah. So what happens is that what is missing is the way to really detect what to solve. And what you can see is that a lot of companies just come up with these huge lists of everything that could be improved, and then they try to figure out what to do, and then they look at what's there, and they don't really have a system to really detect what really needs to be and must be improved.
Okay.
And yeah, as far as the 80% cost reduction goes, this is just a really fast way to, it makes it much easier to have a collaborative workflow and to manage freelance translators, and we all know that could make a difference in cost, like quite a bit.
And in terms of, I think my very basic Six Sigma training, I learned that lean means that you remove a lot of waste in the process, right? Anything that does not add value to the process is up for discussion. Which are the most sort of wasteful process steps that you've detected in doing these exercises?
Yeah, quite a bit. I personally really like the one, waste of talent. Where I think that translators are used as typing machines, and they don't actually add to the process. They don't add the value that they could add. But also, activities that are performed basically twice on the client side and on the translation company side is waste. Mm-hmm. And of course, movement of files is just that's
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect answer.
Thanks very much, Bert. Yuka, do you have a quick question for Anouk?
Yes, thank you very much for the nice concept. I got the concept, but I just couldn't visualize actually how you do it. What tool do you use, for example?
For which part would you like to use a tool?
I mean, for this concept, what's the real thing? I understood the concept.
Yeah. So it's a Kanban board. That's it. It's
Kanban board.
Yeah. So it's really the thing with this is it looks very simple, but it's not easy. So it's a very simple concept with high impact. If you do this structurally and systematically, and you improve every single time that you exceed your limit, there's going to be amazing stuff is happening. And we
use Jira, for example. It's Kanban system. What's the difference? I don't know.
Sorry?
No. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So simplicity, according to Anouk. Thanks a million, Anouk. Good stuff.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you here. And we'll move on now to Mahmoud again, and we'll try to get Mahmoud on the stage.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, that's a good sign. All right. Do you want to go ahead and share your screen now?
Yes, sure. Okay. Today, let me introduce myself first. Mahmoud Rojdi from Saudi Soft Company. I'm going to speak about TQS or quality solution for bidirectional language order issues. Let me first speak about the inspiration or the reason behind working on this solution. As a Middle Eastern language provider, we face a quality challenge regarding the language order and bidirectional issues. Most bidirectional languages are used mainly in the Middle East, which are our scope of work. We are talking here about Arabic, Urdu, Farsi, Hebrew, and Yiddish, for example. And as the general flow of any text proceeds from right to left, for example, or left right. So here we are talking about when we're going to translate into right to left and face some characters or symbols or bidirectional, it took the other order language from left to right, same way as it. So it creates like a confusion, and we used to solve this manually by our project manager or translator, or sometimes for the other languages, we make like a long chain between back and forth to solve this issue. So our developers and we thought about how could we find an automated solution for this, and for saving time for sure, and enhance our quality process. So we worked on quality tool with the same features of other quality tool, in addition to an extra feature which is provides like foundation for complete BiDi support, or detecting, giving a rule to detect the BiDi error, like brackets BiDi, for example, numbers, dot, asterisk, dollar, and ampersand. I'm gonna try like a very short demo about this tool or solution. And here it's a friendly and web-based, and when we started to apply this with the pandemic with our internal team and the external freelancer, so it helped us to because the design was cloud-based, so it's very easy to share it with all the team, all the project manager. And as you can show, when you apply or just upload any file, you can determine the feature from the left, so it's very easy steps, and you can get the results and determine the categories of errors. And also you can, after you get and solve the result, visualize the result, export category of errors so you can analyze it. And we are talking here about reducing human effort and find a good solution to help our scope of work. Also, this was a very good edge for our company to share it for free, and in the Middle Eastern languages it will be very helpful, and it will save for us as a quality process, since we are seeking for enhancing all of our quality process, to save a lot of time and double time and effort from our project manager.
Thank you, Mahmoud.
Thank you.
That is your time. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Mahmoud. Let's go to questions, and Yuka.
It's nice to see the innovation for this kind of languages. And I was wondering if this is very specific to bidirectional language only, or?
No. It's I mean here, when I was reviewing, it has the same features of any other quality tools, the same, but we added, like, in addition, how to detect these type of errors, because as you know, the script itself, it took like from left to right and right to left, so mixturing between them, always creating, it wasn't practical mix in development, so you cannot do that easily. So just giving features to detect types, like when I mentioned asterisks or brackets or ampersand or any symbols, so it's an extra, but it gives the same other quality tools results.
Mhm.
You can exclude it, by the way. You can determine the language also.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right, thank
Yuka. Bert, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm really, it's really impressive. And I must say, I'm mostly amazed that it took us, I don't know, 30, 40 years in the localization industry to finally come up with this. Because where have you been all that time?
Okay.
My main question would really be, what kind of issues are you mostly detecting? Is there any like top 3?
It's in addition to the normal. For example, we are talking. We here catch the major and the minor. If you are talking about specifically, we are talking about brackets by die, dot by die, full stop, for example, question marks, percent, dollar or currencies, asterisks, ampersand, in addition to the other features.
Okay.
So
Great.
we try to cover most of the bi-directional issues.
Thanks, Bert.
Cool.
We do have a question actually just on chat, Mahmoud, which is it applicable to software applications, from Olivier, actually?
Sorry?
So is the system applicable to software applications?
Yes, actually we are working now to how to make it an API, or we are this is our first year launching, so we are working on that, on the development with the development team, to make it as an API, to an application software, if you are talking about mobile app, for example, or to be a plugin, could be integrated with another CAD tools. So we are currently working on that.
Very much, Mahmoud.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining the PIC. And we'll ask Leonid to join us. Mahmoud, if you can stop sharing your screen, that would be great. And
Okay,
we'll...
thank you.
Thank you. And we'll have Leonid come join us.
All right, we can see your screen, Leonid, but not your, not you or hear you. If you could just turn your cam and mic on.
Yeah,
Now
you
we're
should
hearing
hear
you.
me now.
Yep.
Yeah, because I started with the screen.
And we can see
Okay,
you now.
perfect. 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 Thanks a lot. Okay. Quick and affordable, innovative evaluation of translation quality. An eternal issue that has a solution now. So the whole solution is built around the Logros IT quality triangle methodology. It works not only for MT, but also for any other content you need to assess. We can evaluate or predict 2 things: savings in the post-editing scenario, or issues when we evaluate existing content. It's not just an idea. The approach has been proven experimentally, and we did not rely on anecdotal evidence. All the experiments were conducted cleanly on sufficient volumes, and all evaluations done blindly, and with verified results. Both holistic and curated atomic level evaluations are fast, so the solution is both quick and inexpensive. It is also considerably more reliable than automated evaluations. Now, a couple of words on the 3D nature of quality. Its dimensions include 2 holistic and 1 atomic level factor. Holistic adequacy reflects how closely the translation conveys the meaning and the message of the source. Holistic intelligibility measures the ease of consuming and understanding the target content. Atomistic quality is something very familiar. It covers local issues at sentence level, such as terminology, broken tags, and so on. Holistic evaluation, but semi-objective. To produce reliable results, we need well-defined universal scales. We have developed these scales for both adequacy and intelligibility, and to speed things up, we apply heavily curated atomistic evaluations and only concentrate on segments that are unintelligible, introduce distortions into the meaning, or contain critical errors like curse words. And it's not just a well-developed concept. We have a complete end-to-end portal behind it with full participation of all involved parties. Finally, how we do it. We start with a quick holistic QA at a global level if content is contiguous. This is sufficient for the post-editing scenario. When we deal with existing or non-contiguous content, we do a limited atomic level QA revealing serious issues only. As for the proof, look at the spreadsheet. There is a clear correlation between holistic quality evaluations, it's the last column, and MT post-editing productivity, it's the second one. The existence of this correlation was proven tested on a significant set of MT engines and language pairs. And this applies not only to MT, but also any other materials that need additional polishing or editing, like crowdsourced translations. The approach has been fully developed, published, is integrated into a user portal, and we have actual clients using it. Thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you very much, Leonid. Very interesting. And let's start with questions. Jeff, will you kick us off?
Yeah, so, obviously when it comes to predictability reporting, this really depends on the input and the expected outputs. Is this currently, you did mention that this model is currently being used by clients. What has been the feedback so far, and how is the methodology really measured at that point?
Well, at the moment, really measured, it's a good question, but I'm not sure it's specific enough. So the thing is, the methodology is the foundation. You build metrics based on the methodology for a particular purpose, and these purposes can differ. Say, for instance, this same model is not only applied to direct language quality when it comes to translation, but say we evaluate the quality of product placement ads using different holistic coordinates. That is how attractive they are and how informative they are. So we build metrics, and we have a full mechanism for doing this. And then we evaluate both scales, and this is the key here, because these are semi-objective things, and otherwise we'll go into complete, say, emotional area, or something that we do believe, but that has not been proven. So actually here we've got these scales that make it possible for us to get kind of stable, repeatable results that can be reproduced from reviewer to reviewer. And then we have particular recommendation on where can we say improve post-editing speed, and what improvements do we expect. And we have a good kind of quantitative predictions. Or when it comes to existing content that clients want us to evaluate, we can evaluate how bad it is, and whether it requires in-depth reviews, or whether there is something that's really bad about it that requires it to be reworked or republished, say like political incorrectness or some major things. But there are particular quantitative metrics, and there are 3D behind that, so we can easily add more to conduct a thorough QA. I'm not sure whether I answered it, but it's a very multifaceted question.
Yeah, I can see that obviously it should have been much more precise, but I appreciate it in broad terms, at least for me to understand and comprehend that. So thank you.
You can look, if anybody is interested, you can easily look and read, it's a long read, my full article on LinkedIn, and there is a link there in the presentation, and you are very welcome to ask me any questions, and I'll be more than happy to discuss details, because it's a rather deep topic.
Thank you very much, Leonid. We've running out of time here on questions, so we'll just ask anyone, if you have a question, maybe find Leonid at a networking table. We've about 10 minutes to go. We have one more innovator, who is Andre, and we'll just ask him to come on stage. Thank you very much, Leonid.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Andre, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hey, let me quickly share my screen. Can you see my screen?
We can see it now.
Very good. Shall we commence? Or any questions beforehand, or?
I think you're good to go.
Okay. So today's topic is why localization was never agile and how to fix it. So my background is not only in the translation industry, but also in the creative industry. And I was always wondering how we could connect tools of the creative trade and basically everybody else, including the translators. Also, we have this age-old complaint of translators, that complaining that they don't have enough space, for what they want to write, and you can't allow it because the design. And so we thought about that, and we built an entire framework to allow full flexibility and synchronous work. And in order to do that, we understood that all content objects need to be fully independent and disconnected from the text, not just a clone of the source. When we do that, we can do content creation, editing, translation, and sign off at the same time. And right now, they're not connected. Right now, now I don't have to go into the creative process where, right now people send PDFs around, they annotate, then they give it back to the graphic designer. We have a lot of downtime, people wait around. And we have trouble with synchronizing changes across languages, and it all costs a lot of money, is painful and slow. So what we did is we built JAWS, which is based on a framework that we call Flex, and it synchronizes the entire object model across all languages. Objects, when we talk about objects, we mean shapes, colors, sizes, positions, images, text. Everything can be linked and unlinked. Changes in the source, in InDesign, reflect in the TMS in real time. Changes to the target reflect in the source. Changes in the TMS reflect in both. All content elements could stay completely dynamic, means that the project in the TMS grows and shrinks. You can have all designs possible in all languages. The content always flows to the right spot. So JAWS turns InDesign into a fully multilingual application. It's based on the Flex API. Like I said, you have a single source of truth. No matter where your content travels to and what language it speaks, it stays fully entangled to a central location that was built to work on text, a TMS, and not a design tool. Authoring, editing, translation, sign-off, and design can happen simultaneously on different parts of the document, on different computers, by different people in different parts of the world. Everybody stays busy. There's an immense time saving. Last-minute changes are no problem. Everybody works with terminology, meaning brand language, SEO, or continuity. You have complete change tracking and accountability through server timestamps for any user. Content creation and translation not only becomes agile, but also fault tolerant because there is no manual copy and paste, and you have one single source of truth for what you have in your document. And the greatest part about that is that the underlying technology not only works with InDesign, it can work with anything. We just started with InDesign. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre.
Yeah, very interesting. Thanks, Andre. And let's ask questions. Bert, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Thank you. I think InDesign has been a troublemaker for a lot of people in the localization industry for too many years. So, like the previous one presenter, it's almost amazing that this hasn't been invented earlier. Basically, it looks like what you're doing is to really separate the layout, the design, from the actual text, right? So you can actually process a text externally and do whatever you want with it without actually needing InDesign. So the translator works in the TMS. Can the translator actually see any of the layout?
Yes.
Or is it only the person working with InDesign?
As in the development stage right now, the preview, the live preview, which is actually the translator can even write in the preview or write in the TMS, that's in beta phase. The rest is almost done. Yes, and the interesting part is that we can, you can send your first parts of the French translation over, and then you change the Brandenburg Gate to the Eiffel Tower. You shift your headings around, and you make something bigger. You can fully change everything, shapes, sizes, whatever. And still, if somebody still wants to change any other translations, you just push a button and everything moves, everything flushes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who is your main target audience for this JAWS plugin? Is it the actual desktop publishing teams, or is it the creative agencies that create the InDesigns, or your customers? Who do you think is going to be most interested in buying?
All of the parties involved, actually. It's basically, I guess, the first adopter, maybe the party that is most annoyed by the process, and then involves all the other parties. Because the biggest problem is that, we always talk about localization, but in localization, in the creative process, localization is just a tiny part. And if we focus on that, then we will never get the job done, and nothing will ever be agile. So we have to integrate the localization in the creative process without annoying anyone, without blocking anyone, and basically almost be invisible. And the only way of achieving that to us was to allow everybody total freedom and just let us flush the text back. But it also means that we don't think of a CAT tool. It's not only for translation. You can now use it for authoring, you can use it for editing, you can use it for translation, and you can use it for sign-off. You can even send it to legal so that they do their sign-off there. And at the end, you push a button and everything flushes right where it needs to be.
Great stuff.
All right, clear.
Thanks very much, Bert, for the question. Jeff, do you have a quick question?
I do actually. This is putting my sales hat on, because I've actually, LanguageWire has actually something exactly like this called InDesign Editor, and I was always on the side of trying to sell this and promote, and some of the things that I saw over time that were a little difficult were, do you foresee any limits on the amount of pages that basically you can push through there per individual that's logging and using it? And do you see any constraints? Are you able to also show in context as you make the changes with various parties involved to try to display that when you're making changes on the fly?
It's all software as a service, so it's fully scalable. So there's no limit to how much we can push through the system. We have an in context. We can edit in context, and also what's really nice, we've build something ourselves that finally allows the translator to see a pixel perfect preview, not just how the normal InDesign preview often looks like. And we can do that because we generate the preview on the InDesign computer, where you have fonts and text available, and not try to replicate it on the server, which of course doesn't work.
Yeah, my recommendation is the price point. They were not good with the price point, and if you can get a great price point, I think you'll do really well with it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jeff, and thanks very much, Andre. That's it for the innovations. I'd like to thank all innovators for doing a great job again today. Also, before we wrap up, just like to thank our dragons for some great questions. You, the audience, for some great questions as well. And as mentioned, if you didn't get your question asked or answered, please join the networking session now, and you'll have an opportunity to do so. Alex.
Great. Well, I just want to remind everyone, so now that the preliminary rounds are done, we'll huddle with our dragons, and we'll be publishing our 6 finalists sometime middle of next week. Those will be published to the PIC website. That's pic.locworld.com. We invite you to join us for the final round, Wednesday, January 27th at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Just a reminder that in order to watch that final session, you will need to be registered for LocWorldwide conference. And I think that's it for me, Dave. What a great, inspiring couple of rounds. Again, I'm excited, and I can see that we're going to have some difficult decisions and deliberations ahead.
Innovation is alive and well, clearly, in our industry. We'll see you all at the networking tables, and thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks, everybody.